Table views play an important part of almost every app, whether it's presenting data or for just showing user preferences. Let's build a simple application that uses a UI table view controller to present information. Starting from a single view application, set up a project, in this case call it Simple Table, select a top level directory for it to reside in. You can see that Xcode has automatically created a view controller class for us. Since we're not going to be using that default one, let's delete the implementation and header files and also delete the controller and storyboard. Now let's add a navigation controller to our storyboard. By default, it will create a table view controller as the root view controller. We need to create implementation files and header files for our custom table view controller class. Let's call it my table view controller. We need to make sure that Xcode knows about our custom table view class, so let's select the table view controller in the document outline, then go over to the identity inspector and set the custom class to my table view controller. Within my table view controller now, let's create some properties that will store our data. In this case, we're going to create a simple NS mutable array called animals that will store our animal strings. Now we'll switch back to my table view controller's implementation file. We're not going to use the initWithStyle method, so we can go ahead and just delete it. Now inside the viewDidLoad method, we want to initialize our NS mutable array animals with some objects. We're using initWithObjects and setting NS string constants of animals: dog, frog, pig, and chicken. Next, we're going to go to our table view data source methods and set the number of sections in table view to be 1. And we're going to set the number of rows in section to be equal to the size of our animal array. Now let's go back and tell Xcode about what kind of table view cell we want our table to use. So click on the table view cell and go to the attributes inspector. Under identifier, let's define a cell called animal cell. Now back to our implementation file, make sure that our cell identifier is set to the same animal cell type. Let's set the text label property of our cell to be the animal name. We're going to use the index path parameter of the method to retrieve the animal object for that particular row. We need to make sure to remember to synthesize our NS mutable array animals so that it's accessible throughout the entire class. Let's go ahead and build it and see we have our table. Let's add a little bit more functionality to this table and make it editable. Go up into the viewDidLoad method and uncomment the navigation item, right bar button item line. When we build the project again, we'll see that we have an edit button in our UI navigation bar. When we tap it, we can see that the table enters an editable state. Now near the bottom of the My Table View Controller implementation file, Xcode has created a commit editing style method for our table view. We'll uncomment it. Now when a user taps on a cell at an index path, we're going to remove the object from our animals array at that particular index path. If we build our project, we tap to enter editing mode in our table, then we swipe to delete, and you can see that we're removing these objects from the array. There are many more advanced uses and functionalities in UI table views, but this demonstrated how to build a UI table view controller in storyboards and fill the table with data from an array.